Hello again, people. This is Elevate Truth TV, and today I'm going to be going into why I went to the family courts in the first place. Now, I know this to explain because I've mentioned how I got involved with a group, Manchester Capoeira Angola was the name of the group. And I'm going to explain what capoeira is a little later, but first I have to go a little bit further back into the relationship when the mother of my children, under the guise of going to therapy, got involved with an individual called Adrian Davis. And he ran a sham company called Tower Counselling. And for almost three years, this person was supposedly conducting therapy with the mother of my children. But from the very outset, you know, he had his office in his home. And the mother of my children would be trying to take the children to the house while this so-called therapy was going on. And all the rules to do with a therapist-client relationship were being broken. For instance, they would be having calls late at night, calling any time outside of this supposedly 1 hour a week arrangement. To cut a long story short, it turned out that she was meeting this individual at a hotel in Blackpool. I left the house. I left and I went and got myself a flat. It didn't last long because I missed my children and I missed them a lot, so I went back foolishly. But it so turned out that this individual had not had any qualifications to be a practicing therapist, so to speak. And I was able to find out on the Advertising Standards website to do with his company, which was registered under a few different names. And the Advertising Standards has asked this individual to produce the qualifications that he and his staff were supposed to have. I never saw any staff, but he claimed to have numerous members of staff. My point in telling you this is that for that time, when he was in my life, or our life, he was more or less the brains of my ex-partner's world. And again, she had set up this kind of victim mentality where she was the victim, he was the saviour, and I was the animal in the life. Again, I didn't know this at the time, but things were always wrong, you know, and there was always an excuse, there was always reasons why she would have to go and meet this person because, you know, but the main thing, there was no therapy going on. There was no changes in this person's personality, there was no issues being covered. And the reason I tell you this is because I was at the end of my tether when I actually entered into the capoeira thing. So the capoeira was headed up by two individuals, and I'm going to show you a little bit of footage in order to explain what was sold to me and what these two individuals were selling to the public, and also where this happened, which was at a place called Z Arts. In fact, I'll show you that first.
Welcome to Z Arts, Manchester's premier venue for children and families. Come on in. At Z Arts we run a range of creative projects. So we have educational visits, we have touring theatre shows and touring exhibitions in our gallery space. Weekly we have a range of educational and creative projects such as drama, dance, different art forms, visual arts.
No issue here. You know, we went to this place, we did art classes, we did dance classes, but the main thing we went there for was the capoeira, which was headed up by these two individuals.
Welcome back to Late Night Live. Time now for my special guest interview. Tonight I'm joined by William Souza and Sebastian Serrayet, who are the art of capoeira, who are using the art of capoeira to help bring children out of poverty. So I only learned about this last night. I read up about it, and it's a fascinating history. So can you just explain to the audience more what it's about?
Yeah, we work. Good night. We work with kids, young people.
Yeah.
And in Manchester, we're running adult class as well.
So it's at the Zeon Arts Centre, isn't it, in Hume?
Yeah,
So
Again, nothing wrong with that. Two guys trying to do their best, take children out of poverty using an art form, a martial art, and let them explain what the martial art was.
And now I was going back to Brazil and doing some social work using capoeira to reinforce, self-esteem, confidence, strength, body awareness, social skills. This sort of thing.
it's a little bit like, slightly, a little bit like martial arts, isn't it? Some of the thing and the discipline. But we have actually got a video apparently that is going to show us some more.
That's what I was sold, and I was very into the art form because it was great for the children and they loved the art form. They would go to one class for an hour a week and I would do the adult class. The idea that we would do it as a family. However, the mother of my children never got involved in the class, never once did the class. Instead, she got involved with the more community side of things, going to different things, like they would have festivals going there. And what I would notice is that I would never be invited to these extracurricular activities, so to speak. And I was losing contact with my children. Bear in mind, while this was going on, I was paying for t-shirts because they had this, we had to have new t-shirts so that children could wear them, paid for them. I would pay for the classes. And also donating to their cause to help poor people here and in Brazil. Because William Sousa, the individual in question, was from Brazil. I'd like to show you this video, the promotional video for the project in Brazil. Bear with me.
Hi, my name is Louisa and I'm here today to talk to you about a project that is close to my heart. I'm from the UK and I believe wholeheartedly that learning foreign languages not only increases social mobility but also enhances lives through an exchange of culture. Now, BHZ Connection is a non-profit, non-government organisation that holds these values at its core and takes them even further by offering young people and children the chance to learn other languages and other skills through an exchange of cultures and volunteers. Now, on top of this, volunteers at the project pass on any number of their skills to the children who have little or no access to extracurricular education, and they do this through teaching English, Spanish, Dutch, German, IT, drama, even music and games. Now, I'm here today because we need to raise £5,000 in order to keep this project going.
Hello, my name is William Sousa. I am the founder and coordinator of BHZ Connection project. After 15 years in Europe and work in universities and schools, I decided to come back to my hometown, Belo Horizonte, and we set up this project. This is a social work which we provide free class for kids from 6 to 18 years old. This is an opportunity for volunteers from outside Brazil to teach the kids any language. It can be English, Spanish, French. So
there you have it, people. What was happening is that William Sousa from Brazil would have to come to the UK, and his mission was to make money for his projects in Brazil. In the video you hear him asking for £5,000, but the people in the group in Manchester would actually be paying for his travel to come to the UK. And I personally put in, I don't know how much money, between maybe £300–400 into this group, which might not sound like a lot, but in addition to that, we were paying for t-shirts, buying instruments to work in the group, and at the same time, while this was going on, I was losing more and more contact with my children because the mother of my children would always be here and there, staying over at people's houses. And I was becoming more and more frustrated at this situation. It then transpired that the mother of my children had known these individuals before I went to the group. And in the same way she had stalked me and found me online through being in university, she had actually been in contact with this individual from Brazil before I'd even gone to the group. Let's go deeper. This is the government website. Disclosure and barring website, DBS checks basically. Anybody working with children, vulnerable people, are supposed to have checks to see if they have any convictions. I'm going to come back to that. First, I'd like to say that the situation got so bad that I wasn't seeing my children. As I say, they were staying over in people's houses I didn't know. So I made a complaint, and the complaint was instigated by an event that happened when the mother of my children was in the kitchen, and somebody had come to work on the kitchen of the house. And being a proud mother, she was showing this person pictures of the children doing capoeira. Amongst these pictures was a picture of William Socha, and she tried to hide the picture. And it was the hiding of the picture that drew my attention to it. It didn't leave me, so I asked, why was there a picture of him in your phone? She told me that they were all in a group and he wanted a picture taken and she was the only one with a camera. I took it at face value, but it didn't leave me and it didn't make sense. So I went back and I looked in the phone. Curiosity, so to speak. There was about 8 pictures of this individual. A couple of them in a duvet, wrapped in a duvet. It was at this point that I said, look, if you want a single life, have it. All I want is my children, 2 or 3 times a week and 1 foreign holiday. She wouldn't let that happen, so I went to the family courts and I made a complaint to ZArts. As a result of the complaint, it came to light that 2 people, due to their convictions, were not allowed to work with children. They were then kicked out of ZArts, the group as a whole. And to date, I never ever found out who those 2 individuals were. But being a father, my mind went to the worst option possible, that there was actually 2 paedophiles in the group who were grooming children in the group. At this time was one of the first times that the mother of my children went on the attack to protect her group, who she was now the secretary of. She had become the secretary of the group. And for me, it was the official end of this relationship, totally. And as I say, I went to the family courts, and that was the reason. From then, the false allegations started, and the first one that started was that I was in ZArts with a gun or some form of weapon to hurt people. As crazy as it seems. But when these narcissistic people, when their world is threatened, they go on the attack, and that was her form of attack. I'm going to draw this to a close, and what I'm going to do now at the end of this video is play a conversation with Sebastian Sarayet, or whatever his name is, who was fearful to speak to me and meet with me, and I didn't mind him not meeting with me because I only intended to record the conversation to actually confirm, because throughout the family court proceedings I was made to be a kind of paranoid person, that this stuff to do with the people failing the DBS checks didn't happen, and I was trying to control the mother of my children. No, I wasn't. I was trying to have access and protect my children. I didn't grow up in a family where my mum would go to different people's houses and I was staying here and there, people that we didn't know. And that's what the mother of my children were doing. Now, as a result of all this, capoeira left, as I said, and my children, I believe, never went back to capoeira. My children don't know what happened. They'll be sold a lie, most probably. So this is kind of evidential for the future. So yes, I'm signing out. And I don't know if many people would listen to the conversation at the end of this, but it's there if anybody chooses to. And it's right at the end of that conversation where the individual does tackle the fact that 2 people in Manchester, Capoeira, Angola had been excluded from working with children due to their convictions. What convictions they were, I don't know. Because it went dead on the information that I could get. But I'm happy that I tried to protect my children and will continue to do this. So let's go out with the audio. Bye for now. See you on the next episode of Elevate Truth TV.
Okay, just running around a bit. So, yeah, I just wanted to understand what you're hoping to get, talking with me like, and get into it.
Well, what I'm hoping to get. Well, a lot of the times when I've been talking to you, I've talked about closure. Yeah.
Yes.
And I also said to you that closure isn't going to happen for me, in a sense, until I'm back with my children.
Yes.
So I guess it's just a process in understanding the past so that I can understand the steps I'm going to take in the future. Like I've just started proceedings again to see my children's second hearing is in April.
Right.
I already had proceedings which lasted 3 years. And in those proceedings, you was involved, Capoeira was involved, false allegations were involved. Now, the first time Catherine made a false allegation about me, yeah, was when I put in a complaint about Capoeira, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then after that, she said that I was in Z Arts with a weapon. This was the first lie that was ever told about me.
Right, I never heard of that.
I know. But there's a lot of things you wouldn't know, Seb, and this is the thing. Now, obviously, you were aware that I put in a complaint about Capoeira, though, because that led to Capoeira not being in Z Arts anymore. I know that.
That's right.
I know I'm responsible for that.
Yes.
The things that you don't understand is this. When you're saying to me, you wanted to understand why I would want to talk to you. Well, that's a question I could pose to you. Why do you think I want to talk to you or would want to talk to you?
Well,
and what's important as well, Seb, is why would you want to talk to me? Why wouldn't you just tell me that, well, you've got nothing to do with this, forget it, you don't want to talk to me?
No, well, I suppose, things are better out and said than not,
Right.
So, I'm just listening and saying, answering what you might have to want to answer, me to answer, but other than that, I don't know what else to say. To be honest.
The thing is this, Seb, I don't want me talking to you to affect your relationship with Catherine. I don't want it to affect Capoeira, because I'm not in Capoeira. My children aren't in Capoeira, but I find that interesting because I don't know why my children would have stopped going to Capoeira. I don't know why.
There was no more Capoeira after the Z Arts thing.
Oh yeah, but Capoeira carries on, no? You found another location, and you carried on.
Well, open, close. It's just the nature of these things. But it took a big hit. What was built was affected by what happened between you and.
Yeah, it did. Now, from my point of view, the reason why I believe that it was affected is because we had a lot of different agendas going on. My agenda as a father going there was to go to a class once a week with his children, do Capoeira with his children, and, as a family, really.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that are irrefutable, like Catherine never took part in Capoeira once.
Yes.
Right?
True.
However, she did take part very much in the community aspects of Capoeira.
Yeah.
So we had two opposite things going on. I would take part in the class and would take part in the community stuff.
Right.
And at one stage, she became the secretary of Capoeira, I believe.
I don't know about title, but she might have helped out with some stuff.
Well, that's what she said she was, and that's what I believe you said she was, because...
I can't fully remember the title, but yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean, and I do remember some of the classes were enjoyable. I remember you being in the class with your kids, and it was great.
Well, of course, because that's what I came to do. And if it was say, from my point of view, if it had remained a class, you see, this is why that complaint went in, Because you see, when I would go to the art class with my children,
Yep.
I wasn't staying over for days at a time, yeah, in the city where the art class was. However, she was building her life on the fact that she was part of a community, and it seemed that whenever I was working, she would have reason to be in Manchester. Now, I'm talking because it started to cause issues with the fact that I wasn't seeing my children, yeah? And what was doing was passing it off as a fact that, oh, I am this controlling person who wanted to control her. And I was trying to find out where my children were, what they were doing, which was a normal thing a father would do. Now, your mother of your children wasn't the secretary of Capoeira, was she?
Way before that, she was, yeah.
Okay, but she wasn't
In
at
the
the
early
time.
days.
In the early days. And in the early days of Capoeira, it was a different thing from when I went to Capoeira, right?
Well, the time at the time when all this happened, it was very much a group with a lot of kids.
Yeah, because
a lot
you
of,
built
families, parents.
That's right. You built.
And it was more than the art class because people were creating a sense of community, which is the essence of Capoeira, because people have to get together to do that.
Yes, I agree with that. But Seb, it was actually built on the children. I remember William talking about this.
It was always something very important. Yeah,
it was built on the children.
Teach the next generation.
So, with it being built on the children, what I did as a father was support my children in that. That means paying for stuff like T-shirts, donating to William and his cause.
Yeah.
You know, actually putting money into his hand from me.
All right, I didn't know that, but yeah.
You didn't know about that, okay.
No.
Also, I used to pay for the class.
The adult classes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Seb, was this. Do you think it was right to be allowing people to attend classes for free while I was paying for those classes?
She wasn't participating in the classes. To me, she was just an accompanier. I was accompanying the kids.
Right.
And then it was her choice to stay later when the kids' class was finished. But you think I should have charged her for just watching?
Well, no. It wasn't charging for just watching. Her intention was to participate in the class, and it was her who came to me and said to me that you have decided that she doesn't have to pay. This is what she said to me. She doesn't have to pay because I've already paid for a class.
No, the kids' class was free, and the adult classes was, I can't remember, 5 or something. Okay. And she never took part.
Right.
She never.
No, she didn't. But her intention was to, and it was down to her self-confidence why she didn't take part in the class.
I didn't know about that either.
Well, there seems to be a lot you don't know, Seb. And the thing is this:
do you remember Ria?
Do you remember Ria? Do you remember Ria?
Ria.
She was another member of Capoeira who didn't get really involved, but her children were around Ria.
Possibly, but not clearly.
Because Ria also said that you would be giving female mothers free attendance at Capoeira. This is what I was told by Ria.
Look, in terms of Capoeira, it's not a money thing. So I had an arrangement with the ZAs.
No, it might not have been a money thing, yeah, but you was trying to build up Capoeira at the time. That means William was trying to get funding for his project, for his BHZ project.
Let me give you some background on me and William as well, because William was here for 7-8 years in the 2000s, left in 2009. 4 years we didn't speak. Every now and then he re-popped up and tried to take over, stuff, and then fell into it didn't work out with some people. So they don't see me and William just one thing.
Okay,
he was trying to draw in a certain way.
Again, Seb, that is a revelation to me, because here is what was sold to me. Seb was the person who would coordinate stuff, and William was the person who ran Capoeira. He was in charge of Capoeira. He was the man.
He is my teacher. He's my master in terms of Capoeira.
So when
but he runs his own project down there in Brazil,
and he's trying to link it up. But all I could do is I had a group of people there that were attentive, and he talked to them. But, I wasn't necessarily happy with all the things, which way he's trying to drag it, and me and William is a complex relationship.
Right. Well, the thing is, Seb, I don't know about that. All I know is that you look like an organisation together. You look like you was building an organisation together, and many of the things that I was sold to by as capoeira wasn't actually as it turned out to be. For instance, was in touch with you two people long before I started capoeira, but when I started capoeira, I believed that it was just a new thing. So what I'm trying to show you is that
since 2000 I've been involved in capoeira in Manchester.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is since 2000 it hasn't always been highly structured around children. And like I say, when you say
it was at Manchester College for 5 years, so it was quite structured around children.
Okay. But when I was there, it was structured around children. Now,
but it was both, yeah. And at the ZArts, because the ZArts was a family venue, and that's they pushed it that way.
It was a family thing, but it didn't involve me in that family thing. Now, I wanted to give you an example of this, Seb, so that you can understand from my point of view. So I want to give you an example of this, right? You had a festival and you went to the festival, and at that festival I talked to you, and it was on a Sunday morning. I remember very well. You remember very well. Okay. Now, the run-up to that festival was this. For about 6 months, was saving. Now, didn't have any funds, so the money that she would be saving would be my money. Saving to go to this thing. Now, she was buying everything under the sun. We had a problem because at one point, she wanted to buy mobile phones for the children. This was the first time the children would ever have mobile phones. I saw no need.
Way too young for that.
Right, way too young for that. I saw no need for the children to have mobile phones because I thought, well, you're going to a festival, which again, if a man's so controlling, why do you find it easy to be in Manchester all the time?
Can I just say about the festival itself? Because we were, as you said, geared towards the kids. There was a lot of kids that didn't have much means. The classes were free.
Right.
And we had this opportunity, which I had gone 2-3 times, to a children's festival.
Okay, I understand.
Actually, I was going with my kids, and so I offered that to the people in the group.
Okay.
Everybody, and I offered it to her, not knowing about anything about between you what was going on between you two, and I thought you were coming as well.
Okay, well I didn't come because many times when I would arrange these things, I would have to be going away to work, and again, many times, Seb, when would find that she had stayed at capoeira too late and have to stay over at somebody's home, it was a case of I couldn't do that because I was working. And that was the case. Because,
sure, I remember. We did. Okay. That was part of the conversation. Then.
So when I would be coming to capoeira, and this happened one time where you would be giving me back my children's clothing, I would be thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, why is this man got my daughter's clothes? Yeah.
Probably she left something there that I picked up. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Well, back to the festival now. So she bought mobile phones for the children, and
can I just cut right to the chase? I think what you're asking is, did I have any relationship with Catherine? Is that what you're asking?
That is not even the point. What I'm trying to show you is this.
Because I can answer that straight away.
Wait, you're not being asked that question. Why? Because I want to show you, it's not about
how it looks from your side.
Right. Okay. So,
I get it.
So wait a minute. I'd just like to say this. So she bought the mobile phones. I wasn't in agreement with the mobile phones because I didn't see a need for them. I thought your children are only going to need mobile phones if you're not going to be with your children. So she said she was going to be with the children. So I let it go. I thought, okay, no problem. I rang you on the Sunday.
Yeah.
The children were not there. She didn't know where the children were. Now, I wasn't happy because of the fact that I'd said, are the children going to be with you or not? She told me that the children were, and like I said, the children were not around. Now, on that occasion, Seb, I don't know if you remember that.
I remember very well all of this.
I said to Karen at the time on the phone, I said to her, are you choosing this relationship with me, or are you choosing capoeira? And do you know what she said to me?
I can guess, but that had happened.
Okay. She said that she was choosing capoeira, right? Now, if a man goes to an event, in this case it was a class to do once a week, and we come to a point where she's deciding that she's going to end the relationship. The relationship is secondary. Her family.
I had no idea about all that.
Capoeira. Okay, well I'll give you another example, Seb. When I used to many times,
and I see how it,
okay,
how you feel. I can see how you would feel aggravated.
It's not about aggravation, Seb. It's about the process of how things happen and when people don't know what's going on. Now,
yeah.
I remember many times when I'd come into the environment where you and would be around, and then, the conversation would stop as if you didn't want to talk when I was around. And I remember also an event that had an impact on me, because I remember you buying a car, you getting a car.
Yes, I remember exactly that, because you've already told me. You've already told me. And the reason why I said you should look at the car, because it's a different car. So when we're driving to Todmorden, you should look at the car, because I'm going to be driving you, so I'm going to be picking you up. So you can recognize the car.
You didn't say that to me. You said that. You said it was important that she.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, because we were driving to Todmorden where there was an event. Right. So to me, it makes sense that spot the new car, because it's from '97. The car. It's not like I'm sure. I'm just saying this is the car you're gonna have to get into to go to Todmorden.
Right.
Identify it. You know what I mean?
So so you had an event in Todmorden. This was separate from the festival event, right?
Yeah. You're talking about two, 3 different occasions, and you keep repeating them like it's happened loads of times. There was this Just So festival in August where we talked on the phone.
Loads of times. I mentioned the festival. You mentioned Todmorden. I remember that actually.
So Todmorden and Just So festival, and I think there was one barbecue at Anaïs's house in Charlton.
Right. No problem. Well,
I think that was most of it.
You see,
but I can see how you feel, without my knowledge, that all this is going on and your relationship is
No, Seb, that's not how I feel. I feel this. Yeah.
What do you feel?
Like you, were a professional, or supposed to be a professional.
No, I was a volunteer. My day job is something else.
Right, but
my day job is something else.
You run capoeira.
Yeah, I don't get paid. My day job is something else. I do that extra as a hobby.
Yeah, but you do it professional. You're not supposed to.
No, I don't do it professional.
You wasn't supposed to be involving yourself in people's lives, really, right?
I didn't involve myself in that. That's the point. That's what we felt, I think, because I invited them to a festival. Actually, as a whole family, including you. So
if you invited them to a festival, how come I was never at any of these things?
Well, you invited. We just saw you less than we saw her. So the messages were going through her, but clearly, there was something.
Got to me. No message got to me.
Man,
now, the question I would love to ask you, though, Seb, is why would a woman choose you over a relationship?
She didn't choose me. She chose that community.
Okay, she chose the community, but the community was you, because, it wasn't anybody else in the place driving her to Todmorden. It wasn't anybody else arranging to pick her up when she was at the festival.
And it wasn't anybody.
It wasn't really anybody else who was with her on the Sunday.
Yeah, it was everybody. We were all together. We were camping all together.
But not my children, no. My children weren't there.
Children sometimes would all go off together, play somewhere. It's, you're looking for something where there's nothing. But
I'm not looking for anything, Seb. You're saying I'm looking for something where there's nothing. You see, you're preoccupied on whether you had any kind of relationship with. You did have a relationship with.
No, you're saying whether I was professional or not.
Well, I know you wasn't professional, because the simple fact of the matter is, when I wrote to Z Arts and made a complaint, it was on the basis of the fact that I did not know where my children were, and I wasn't doing it from a point of view of some guy who's bothered about the relationship. I was doing it from the point of view that I don't know who my children are involved with. as much as I tried to know who my children were involved with,
Well,
I
we
didn't.
did quite a lot of events with you around.
Now,
I remember
only
picnics and classes.
only the
A
classes
picnic,
I really went to.
a
Yeah.
picnic in Moorside, in Alexandra Park.
Well, when I wasn't
And-
working, I used to try and be with my children.
Exactly. So I
that
thought
was the thing.
you were
So-
aware of what the group was like. You know, I wasn't trying to hide anything. So I don't, and you know, I didn't know what was going on between you two. So to me,
But you did, though. So at one side of the story, you was told that I was some kind of violent controller.
man,
But the
a
thing
week before you put your complaint in at the ZAS, she came up with a letter, wrote 5 pages, said, "This is my story." Asked people who wanted to read it or not to read it.
Who did this? A week before what happened?
Before you put a complaint,
Yeah.
a week or so, I can't remember exactly, she came up with a letter and shared a story with people. That's where, you know, we got put in the middle of it without asking for anything.
She wrote. You said it was 5 pages.
She wrote some on paper, I don't know how many pages, a letter
Right.
explaining that to people.
And shared her story with the group.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, it's a one-sided story.
Wow. Very interesting. Why would you think anybody would do that with a group?
I don't know, man, but I'm trying to help you, but I'm dragged back into it. Yeah, and what happened that was wrong in the first place is to be put in this situation in the first place.
Okay. I think it's very strange that somebody would come to a group. Is that was something that the group did? People would write their story and share it with the other
No,
members?
never. That's never happened.
Wow. That seems a little bit odd to me, and it's a very revelation.
So you do believe me?
Well, I do believe you. I don't think you would have any reason to lie
Exactly.
about that, you know. But I think it's an odd thing for somebody to do to write a letter to a capoeira group. And tell
Well, you
them
know,
that-
because I said I didn't know what was going on between you. We had there was some weird incidents. There was one, I don't know if you remember, with a monitor, a driving instructor or something, and some Facebook messages, really weird.
Right.
That's the first time that, you know, it kind of spilled into the group, you know.
Okay. Well, you know,
there was other incidents.
Yeah.
It was just a few months after the festival where we had not a very nice conversation on the phone because you wanted to know where your children were. They were in a family festival with all the kids.
Yeah. Well, Seb, like I say,
some of us taking turns looking after them.
Like I say, Seb, you know, it wasn't an issue of my children being at the festival. It's the issue of when I rang, my children weren't there, and you know, like you said, the children too young to have mobile phones. Unless you're planning for your children to be away from you, you know, you shouldn't really be needing a mobile phone.
I don't understand that either. I don't understand the mobile phone thing. I don't
understand
it.
The woman bought.
Well, it doesn't make sense considering how skinny she was as well. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. The woman also bought things like a tent that had a separate bit that you could separate your bit off from the children. I'm thinking, well, why does all this stuff need to be done? You're not sleeping with anybody else, but you need to be buying tents like this. You need to be buying mobile phones, and it came to the point where the woman put so much into this festival that she was going to a festival, that she had
maybe man she didn't have much
messed up the family finances, where she had to be once again coming to me to ask about this.
That wasn't the intention, man. It wasn't like some kind of evil plan of me trying to do that. You know what I mean? These are all kind of like unforeseen events that have happened.
Well, I find it very odd. I find it very odd that somebody would write a letter talking about her story, to a group. It seems that she was trying to sell a certain image. But I'm going to say this to you, and this is factual. Now, you can verify it with me if you want, or you don't have to, because I wasn't speaking to you.
I'd rather,
like I said, I wasn't
you with closure and then not get involved at all anymore. You know, to me.
Well, you've got a better relationship with than I have. I can assure you of that. Yeah.
Well, I don't. There's something I need to check with her. I mean, I don't really engage with her because it is a a painful episode, not as much as for you, but it is not a nice time to revisit, you know.
Well, I don't understand why, because, you know, you should have a good relationship with her. But the one thing I wanted to say to you, yeah, was this. Now, my final straw was this, Seb.
Go on.
Like I said, she'd already told me that she was choosing capoeira. You say it's the group, but I assume that it must have been somebody within the group she was choosing to have this such a strong link.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't. It was
time,
the girl in the, you know, the girls being with having friends and stuff. Kyoko and the girls. You know, nothing to do with whatever, you know, relationship. Maybe, you know, yeah. As a teacher, the capoeira teacher, I had a.
Well, it wasn't the girls who were picking. It wasn't the girls who were picking up, driving us to Todmorden and doing this stuff. It wasn't. And then she would be coming back asking me. It would be, you know, it would be her coming back asking me for money to give to William, or she didn't want to leave. You know, and a lot of the times these are the things I went with. She actually asked me to start saving up money so that she could go to travel to Brazil. Now, Seb, yeah.
As
a person, go on.
It sounds quite not right, you know. It sounds to me like she wasn't all there, but
okay.
You know,
well,
I don't know.
Let me say this to you, right? I'd love to go to Brazil, but as a person who's got my family in Jamaica, and I've got 2 children here, the first priority would be to go to Jamaica. Yeah. So when she was trying to sell me this idea, these are the things that were an issue to me. But the final straw was this, right? And I'm going to tell you the words I said to. Which is why I don't want to know whether people had a relationship with, and it's this, right? I was in the kitchen with, and she was showing pictures to a woman who'd come to work on the kitchen, showing pictures off her phone of the children doing capoeira. She was going through the phone now, and as she went through, there was a picture of William in there, and she tried to hide the picture. And it was the hiding of the picture that drew my attention to it. So I asked her what the deal was, why there was a picture of William in her phone. Now, she said to me because they were all in a group, all together in a group. He wanted a picture taken, and I was the only one with a camera. I said, okay, no problem. But it stayed with me, Seb, and it wouldn't leave my mind because I thought it didn't make sense. So I went back and I looked in the phone, and there was about 8 pictures of William in the phone.
What do you want me to say about
that?
Because I don't know what I can.
I don't want you to say anything. I'm just telling you that. I'm just going to tell you what was my final straw. Now there was pictures from different angles of William, and one where he's wrapped in a duvet. It didn't look right to me, Seb. So what I said to him was this: the end of the relationship. I finished the relationship, it was over. All the things that I've said to you dealing with capoeira, I'd had enough of it. And I said to him that all I wanted, if she wanted a single life, I'd have a single life. Because I didn't want to go into the fact of whether things were going on in capoeira. All I knew is this: it was 2 different people going on. She was heavily involved in a group, and I wasn't. It was having an effect on me having contact with my children. So I said to her, if you want a single life, have a single life. All I want is my children 2 or 3 times a week and 1 foreign holiday. And that's what I went to the family courts with. So my initial form to the family courts mentioned capoeira. Now, I know you've got nothing to do with that incident, but I'm going to tell you this. From my point of view, it was like this. I've had enough with this group. All I want is contact with my children. Now, it was at that point that started making allegations that escalated through my family court proceedings. She told the courts that I'd raped her for 10 years from 2006. Wait. 2006 to 2015, I'd raped her. Now, Seb, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know your relationship. To be honest, I'm feeling dragged into it. You know?
Horrible. And you don't need it. You don't need it.
Yeah.
But you was part of it at one time, Seb. And what I'm saying to you is this.
Not knowingly and not maliciously. You know,
not knowingly, not maliciously. Because, Seb, I'm going to tell you 2 different versions of me, right? Now, originally, I had a lot of anger towards you, and I put a lot of blame on you, right?
I know.
Right, Seb. that don't exist anymore. You know why?
I don't know.
Because we all do things wrong. I won't lie and say I don't think you got over involved. I do think you got over involved, and I think you was non-professional. At the same time, I don't blame you for the actions of and how she entered the group, how she manipulated people to think certain things. I don't blame you, and whether you believe that she manipulated things or not, that's on you. I believe that. Now, from your point of view, Seb, I'm not a man who's going to carry malice in my life. That's why I said to you, if you wanted to meet, you wanted to meet. I get the sense that you didn't want to meet, so I don't need to meet with you because I haven't got any ulterior motive. I'm not trying to track you down. I'm trying to get understanding of what goes on.
And I appreciate this conversation.
Just the simple fact, Zeb, that you told me that she wrote a letter to the group is shocking to me, because I think to myself, well, you must want...
She puts your relationship out there to other people or anywhere outside of it.
Right,
but,
well,
Seb, that's where it's kind of like perverse to be dragged into that. You know what I mean? I've reflected for a long time. Like, you know, I don't want to do...
I'm going to tell you something
as well, anymore. You know, I don't want to do with people where people are going to come into the group and bring this stuff in. You know,
Seb,
I didn't ask for that, man.
Seb, I know you didn't, but Seb, listen, it wouldn't have come into the group if I was just coming to the group and doing the thing, doing capoeira. I was trying to dedicate myself to that capoeira thing. I
wish you had been more around, you know, and I didn't know.
And to be honest, Seb, I still do capoeira now. I still do capoeira now, and it's still part of me now. I'm not as intense as I was, but I still do it now because I think to myself, you had a pure intention when you was going to those classes. So
exactly,
why stop? You know, why stop? And I think that it's a loss to my children, capoeira, because they were both brilliant.
Me too. They're the victim in that. They enjoyed it, and you know, I didn't know. I don't know what went on between the adults, and you know, it's sad.
But Seb, I'm going to ask you a question, and it wouldn't have been a question I would have asked you if you hadn't told me what you told me there about this letter. Because when I'm asking you this, I'm emotional and it's heartbreaking because when you read that letter, if you read that letter that she said, I want to ask you one question. Did in any of that letter she say that she was raped and abused from 2006?
She didn't mention anything about rape.
Right, okay.
And, you know,
okay.
I mean, it's scary because, and you know, it was not something, you know, I wanted to deal with. I wanted it to go away. You know, I wanted. Let
me ask you a question, though, Seb. Right? Let me ask you a question. Yeah. At no time was she unable to go to capoeira, and the issues that I had were to do with access to my children. Whether I dealt with that right or wrong, I know that I wrote a letter. I didn't beat anybody up. I wrote a letter. Now, why would somebody, who claims to have been beaten, not include the fact that because rape is the most vile of all crimes. But in 2017, I was arrested and questioned for historical rape going back 10 years, right? Jesus. And she used this in order to stop me from seeing my children. Now, Seb, I'm going to be totally honest with you. A little while ago, I was arrested for posters because she said that I had uploaded a video on YouTube and stuff like this. And as a result of the proceedings, I was able to get police documents going back 10 years of false allegations that I made to the police claiming abuse. And on all of these evidence going back to 2008, it says that she claims that she had a broken arm in the first one. Police said that although the informant claimed that this had happened, it didn't happen. And all this, I've got it's about 2 inches worth of stuff that she was calling the police and doing this stuff. So basically, it's interesting. And I think this call's been interesting. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to thank yourself for taking the time to call me. You know, I don't need to be badgering you. If you think I'm badgering you, if you've been anxious about this call or meeting, I want you to leave that anxiety about, because I'm not on a mission, to harm your life or to do anything. I'm on a mission to find out certain truths about the past, that's all. so that I can move forward. Yeah.
I wasn't anxious about the call, but it's like when you talk about something that happened that wasn't pleasant, it's bringing it back. So just feel a bit,
Yeah, but I'm very surprised that you don't have a relationship with your friend anymore. 'Cause I thought you were friends, and I thought you were taking this forward, and she actually was so into the group. And this is stuff I know from the court case.
The group dissolved, basically. The group dissolved after this. It was too much to take. People scattered, and it's never been the same since.
No, I can imagine.
And I don't even know if I ever want to give kids classes anymore again.
Well, you see, the thing is this, it's not about not doing kids classes. I think you should do the classes that you want if you're putting something positive out there. But I also believe that there's stuff to do with boundaries. And, you see, I know my boundaries with females and with other people's partners and stuff like that. I know those boundaries. I know them very well. And in my point of view, yeah, if you and William are not talking to me, but you're ingratiating yourselves with my children and what was my ex-partner, then there's going to be an issue. Now, you mentioned something, yeah, about some driving instructor. Again, you have a story that seems to be bad. But you see, what happened is this, Seven. I'll just give you an example because you brought it up. He was learning to drive, right? And you see, one of the differences between me and is this, right? I'm a reserved person. It takes a time for me to become friends with someone, yeah. It doesn't take any time to become friends. She'll meet somebody today and within 20 minutes, yeah, that person's got her own life story, if it's the correct life story, and they're friends, they're best friends, yeah. Now, when I was away, often was taking the children and wanting the driving instructor to put the children in the car when she was learning to drive. The driving instructor didn't want to do it, yeah, because he said it was unsafe, and Catherine was badgering the man to do it. Now, I said to her, and this was my issue, was this: what relationship you have got with this man who is supposed to be doing his job? He's a professional. He doesn't want the children in his car. You should take that as the rule. But you're badgering the man to take the children in the car. They'll be all right. They'll be all right. But the children, yeah, are not safe in the car because until you pass your test,
you can't drive.
You can't drive. And that's illegal. So that was my issue, Seb. Now, when Catherine paints the picture, she's painting the picture as if, oh, this man thinks that I'm having an affair with the driving instructor. No, I don't. I don't.
No, man, I get it. You explain it, I get it.
Yeah, so that was the issue. So in the same sense, yeah, with Capoeira, I was just saying the same thing when I made that complaint. I wanted to know where my children were. And I didn't sign up for my children being at somebody's house here, at somebody's house there. Don't know where they are. I'm calling, I can't get through. Don't know if my children are even in, you know what I mean? And it's not like it's happening once, It's like a method. This is like my life now, where I'm having to chase around to find if I can spend any time with my children, because I wasn't living with her at that time anymore. Do you understand? So, yeah, so all I'll say, Seb, is, yeah, thank you for giving me the time. It's not something that needs to go on. I have a lot of respect that you gave me the time. Yeah, I knew it was uncomfortable for you.
Yep. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Time has, a lot of time has been.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of reflection on the subject. You talked about boundaries. It's made me question, and yeah, I mean, I don't wish you any bad either. I actually, around those time, I was also, separate. I had separated for a few years,
mm-hmm.
and it was, I have all sympathy with fathers. So, I was hurt that we wouldn't be on the same side. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is this, Seb, you know, from my point of view, yeah, I looked at you as having issues with your children. 'Cause it looked like you hadn't seen your children in a while, and it didn't look like there was a good vibe between you and your children's mother. So I felt that for you, and I didn't have those issues at one time, but those issues were coming more and more apparent in my life now. All I'm trying to do, yeah, is have a relationship with my children. But Catherine has created an environment now where it's going to be impossible for me to ever have a relationship with her because she's made certain allegations about me, and I would never ever trust her again. I'd never go in her environment to trust her to say, okay, you know, I'm going to try and have a relationship where we can be try and get on for the children and all that. I wouldn't ever try it. So my mission now is just about getting to the point where my children will find me, and hopefully their heads haven't been twisted, because I know that, you know, again, if I was this person who was creating this violence and stuff, how come my children, yeah, how come my children were so close to me? For everybody to see, how was that the case? Because usually in these places where there is this violence and beatings, yeah, the children suffer, and the children actually
are scared.
So how was it the case? My children, yeah, are suffering because they have not got contact with me. And I'm not saying that because I'm such a great father. I'm saying that because I have a responsibility.
Yeah, it's true for any child.
For any child, I have a responsibility to them because they need that input from their mother and their father. They need it. If it can be there, it should be there, you know. But she decided to go a different route.
Well, this is the worst possible situation, because separation can be overcome, but bad relationship, you know, is difficult. It leaves it into the hands of some lawyers and judges, and it's. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know if you keep, you know, these things you write to your kids. Maybe it's one way to, you know.
No. She has done it so that based on the allegations that she said, they're putting a ruling so that I can't contact my children. Can't contact them. Do you know what I mean? I can't contact my children at all. You know, so. From my point of view, yeah, if you're with, and this goes for a male, female, whoever, yeah, if you're with somebody and you claim that that person is so disgusting you don't want me in life, then really you shouldn't be planning to go to Brazil with them. You shouldn't be asking them to save to go to Brazil. You shouldn't be in a relationship full stop with them. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be. So what was trying to do was play both sides of the fence. She was trying to keep this relationship going, because it benefited her in whatever ways. And at the same time, she wanted to have a single life. Well, there's bound to be a clash at some point, and the children, like you said, are the ones that suffer. And I am actually sorry that Capoeira had to suffer. I'm sorry about that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man, I do have to go.
No problem.
I don't mind doing it again, you know.
Well, all I say is this, yeah.
I didn't say I didn't want to meet. I just wanted to understand where you were coming from, and
yeah, no, and
sounds like a better place.
Yeah, and like I say, if you felt like I've had some ulterior motive, there hasn't been an ulterior motive. I think that, you know, everything I wanted to say and ask and whatever has been raised in this conversation. If I have anything else that comes to mind, I'll ask. But you know, it wasn't about like I say. You know, my agenda has always been to be a dad first. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so.
I sympathize with that, because children are the most important things in one's life. So
definitely. I don't know. It's like there's no weight been taken off me or anything from talking to you or anything like that. But I feel like a little thing's been cleared in a sense, because when you told me that she'd written this letter, yeah, it's a big thing to me in a sense, because, you know, one of the things that happened, was you aware though, Seb, that I was told by Z Arts that 2 people in Capoeira didn't pass the barring checks, you know, the DSB or whatever it's called, to work with children.
No. I knew, but they said they had forgotten to renew it. It ran out and they'd forgotten to renew it.
No, Seb, that wasn't the thing. It was the fact that Z-Arts deemed it, after getting the barring checks, that 2 people were unsuitable due to their convictions to work with children.
But man, I can't get into it right now. Can we finish it off some other time?
No problem, no problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Take care, yeah?
Gotta go. All right, see you later.